Good evening, Tom.
Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah. So we're here today just to give you an interview regarding the West Indian Center and like the issues surrounding the West Indian Center. So we want to tell us a bit more about the West Indian Center, how it started and
Sure. Right. Right. West Indian Sports and Social Club at the Centre, 70 years. I wasn't born then. I was born the year after, 1953. Two black men met in Alexandra Park. Mr. Gore and Arthur Morris, the first black professor. And they set the organisation up. I came along around 1976 when this place was built, where the prefab. That's when I started coming as a member. And I was going to university, doing my degree and all the rest of it, bringing up a family. And then the first riots occurred in Moss Side when I finished my studying, and I got a job in adult education. And the job was working with black men and women who were disenfranchised by the wider community. They weren't given jobs because of the postcode discrimination. I witnessed it when I used to go to the job centre and do sessions. So I started to do one-to-one advice sessions here with black men and women who the job centres send them over to me. And the focus was getting them back into education and training. I used to say to them, if they don't want to give you a job, set up your own business, do your thing. That was my philosophy. And then Mr. Dougie and Mr. Gore saw the work I was doing, and with my background with economics accounts, they asked me to join the committee. I became a trustee in 1994. The next year will be 30 years. 30 years committed to this organisation. And the last 20 odd years I've been dealing with the finances, going through all the different crises, the banking crisis, COVID, now the energy crisis, and we're still there, right? And for me, it's been a labour of love, because I made a promise to Mr. Douglas that I would make sure this place gets survived and we can hand it over to the next generation. And that's what I've been about, handing it over to the next generation. So COVID hit us bad, and it hit a lot of organisations like us. A whole heap of them got closed down. But we're a small group of people. We said we would give up our time. No money was involved. I came in here and sterilised the place after the lockdown. It was 21st of March, I think 2020, right? Next day I was in here sterilised on my own. And then Mr. Leon, God bless his soul, him and Gloria turned up, and we started to do it. There was nobody else around. Sterilised the place with bleach and everything, and we survived. I said, we'll get through it. I'll sort the finances out. I sorted it out. And I said, we need to call a members meeting. But we couldn't do it yet because of the COVID and the lockdown. And then when they lifted the ban in early 22, I said to them, right, we need a year to make sure we get the finances back on track, which we did do. So last year, for the first time after COVID, we had 6 coaches going to visit other West Indian Sports and Social Club to support them. And they come to support us as well. That's the start that we were coming out of all the problems of COVID. And at the end of 22, we were on the right track. I said, right, now's a good time. So I called a meeting in March, a members meeting, to lay out the plan of what we need to do to get new trustees, because I'm the only surviving trustee. Mr. Brady died, so we needed to make sure we got trustees, and also the rest of the committee was elected by the members from the members. So you have a committee that's made up of 5 trustees and 5 other members. Now that meeting came, I did the agenda, and it breaks my heart, but Mr. Gums turned up, and this is our fact. This is not hearsay. We've got witnesses with his own agenda. Now, when a man turns up to a meeting that you have called for members with your agenda, attempting to give out their own agenda, that's disrespectful, right? And that's an attempt to hijack the meeting. So I thought, this is what's going on. And that meeting, I appealed to everybody, said, look, forget what's happened in the past. Let's all go on together in unity as one. and fight the issues that's confronting us. Now, what happened next? Mr. Washington stood up and randomly said, Mr. Brady said you have £10,000 in the safe in front of everybody. And I said, these people are standing up with no evidence, no information, and just saying it off the top of their head. And then Mr. Clark stood up and said, oh, we sold the club. The land, Barnhill Street land. Where's the money? Right? We sold that land. I said to him at that meeting, we did not sell that land. We were leaseholders. We bought the building, but you couldn't buy the land. We didn't have that money to buy that land. It's obvious. But he said that, and I said to myself, clearly there's an attempt to hijack the meeting. They've got their own agenda. At the end of that meeting, I agreed with members that I would set up a working group to look at the issues that was raised on the night was about the housing, MSB housing, and the possible threat it posed to us. So that group has been convening, and I and others have been going to stakeholder meetings to point out the impact it could have on the club and so on. So we've been doing that, but we've also been engaged in negotiating what opportunities there were to help refurbish the building, because everybody knows the building could do with refurbing, and at the same time soundproof the building. So we have been doing that, and we've got to a point now that there is an offer. I can't go into details right now, but that was the stage that we got to. Now, Basil Gumbs, Washington and Clark, those people decided to set up their own protest group, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that because it's free speech. People can stand up and do what they do. That's okay. I even allowed them to come here and have their meetings, to facilitate, because I've always been of the mind that we're not a closed door situation. Now, what happened at the meeting on the 30th of July, Sunday, and I believe you might have been there, that meeting turned into, again, a repeating of the fact that we sold, which wasn't a fact, it was a lie, that we sold the land at Barnhill. Now, people got really upset, and spirits were running high. People were coming to me, so I was being targeted. So this is all on the basis of no evidence, people standing up and doing what they're doing. They would rather try and hang a black man based on no evidence. And I'm thinking, how is that possible? Why are we not standing up and saying to them, where's your proof, where's your evidence? I've given so many years to this organization, and people don't understand how we survive. I know how we survive, right? When our accountant told us to shut down because the trustees, we would be liable. And I said, no, that's not happening. I'll find a way. And I found a way. But when I hear people standing up and telling lies, I thought, no, it's wrong. So inevitably I had to contact Mr. Gumbs by email and said, look, given the fact that you're using it as a platform to attack me and discredit the trustees, myself and Mr. Brady, and based on pure lies, we have no choice but to say to you, we can't entertain your meetings any further whilst that's persisting. That's the reason why, and there was a health and safety risk, because a lot of the guys who come here regular, they were really annoyed. People were complaining to me, and I had to calm people down. Said, listen, let's calm down. Let's deal with this properly.
So, what's the current position now?
Right.
With the West Indian Centre, and what's the issue surrounding the West Indian? So just so people understand what's going on.
Well, the issue is MSV's proposed housing to build on Westwood Street side behind me, and at the back on Barnhill. Okay, so there's been a lot of I think the protest group, the main thing has been about the leaving out at late hours, because obviously we said we discussed the issue of soundproofing, but they were saying they don't think that's enough. They think people leaving was going to be an issue. Now, I'm here every Saturday night to make sure everybody goes home safe, and I lock up and I lock the gates, and I'm outside there. And if people was to come down here on a Saturday and see for themselves, it's not like a funeral when people make a bit more noise in the day. It's different. when the music's gone, people are gone.
Yeah.
People go.
That's
And
good.
if those people come down and witness for themselves, but a lot of them, they're not here. They're not here. So this is their theory that they're basing it on. Yeah. And also, you've got to remember that Karma Road, and I don't know what happened there, but they never got a situation where they could get the proper protection in terms of the, protection from the sound and so on. Neither did the Naya Centre. Yeah. What we are trying to do is get the place properly insulated against the sound going out and so on. We're trying to limit that, and we're also trying to say to people when they leave the premises quietly, which we've been doing. I've been going out there personally and getting people off the premises and not leaving anybody. So we know from practice what we've been doing. I'm not saying it's perfect or it could not blow up in our face, but I felt that there was an opportunity, and I still feel that, to get some offer whereby we can help to refurbish the building and at the same time get the soundproofing done. And we work on the outside bit, because at the end of the day, you can protest, that's fine. But what I don't want a situation is where we protest, nothing happens, the houses get built, and we've not tried to stake a claim to get this place properly refurbished and soundproofed. So I'm trying to do that, and what I'm trying to do is not make that decision, but what I'm trying to do is get the information and then put it to the members and say to the members, this is the opportunity that presented itself in terms of an agreement with the City Council and MSV. These are the pros, these are the cons. On the other hand, we want to hear the argument from people who think we should just forget that and go for the protest. We also know that Anthony Brown, through the Mustard and Redevelopment Trust, they've got alternative proposals as well. So it's about making sure members hear all the information and make that decision for themselves. That's what it's about.
They have alternative proposal about doing that.
Well, alternatives to, for example, Anthony Brown was proposing a different development, yeah, which may be more commercial mix and so on. But I mean, obviously, the problem is very late in the day for that. You with me? And it's about, well, where's the money going to come from, and so on and so forth. You with me? So it's a difficult one. The City Council would then have to pull back from the development with MSV. So what I've said to Anthony and the others is that I haven't got an objection to doing what they're doing, but right now the only thing I know as a trustee is that we've got a club, we've got members who decide the direction, and we have a possible offer on the table with the City Council. And I can't not show it to the members, because if you're a member and I haven't told you that, you'd be saying, well, why have you not told me that? I didn't know.
So is the community working together to address the challenges faced by the IISSC with the plan building to build 350 new homes in the community service, mainly at front and the side of the centre? Is the community come forward with any?
No one's come forward with any alternatives apart from the Moss Side and Union Community Development Trust. The protest group is about stopping the development, the housing development, yeah? So what I don't know, nobody knows what the impact that would be if the City Council or MSV decided, right, we're not going to go ahead. If that happens, so be it. That means the Moss Side and Development Trust may be in a position to put an alternative proposal. And what we said is that the Sports and Social Club would sit down and talk to anybody who wants to put forward a proposal. That's the way I see it. I've had meetings with Anthony Brown and others looking at preliminary meetings, but I said, I hear what you say, but I still have to try and to pin down specific offers so I can put them to the members. If they've got a specific offer, let's hear that as well. Yeah.
So who made the decision in the end?
The members.
Just the members.
Because it's Sports and Social Club, and that's what people don't understand. We're not a City Council funded community centre. We are a members social club. We've got a constitution. I'm a member. I've got one vote. Anybody who's a member, they've got one vote. All we do is put the information out there. and have the debate. And then once we have that debate, we have to vote on it. And it's democracy. And we have to go with that debate. We have to go with the decision.
So from your point of view, what does success look like for the West Indian Centre?
What does
success look like? What do you see as?
Look, success for me is my number one priority. Obviously, I need the club to be in a position where it's sustain its financial viability. Okay, and I need also the situation where we can get the building refurbed, because this building has been here since 76. 75, 76, yeah. And that's when I started coming. So in a way, you could say it's reached its sell-by date, yeah. And we could do with a new build, yeah. Which is what we were trying to do early on with the brewery, but the brewery pulled out because of the financial crisis that hit everybody back then. So for me, success would be obviously initially short-term refurbish the building and get the base soundproofed. Work with a situation where we can take on board the needs of the neighbours as well. So what we're proposing, we're not having 7 nights a week, late night. Yeah. And what people forget, one night, Saturday night, where we're doing a late night.
So could I ask you, like, what happened with the contract with the brewery, and how come you and the brewery not trading anymore? Is there
the brewery?
Yeah.
Listen, the brewery, a long time ago, the brewery, we used to get our drinks from the brewery, and we also had a loan. It was a brewery loan that helped to secure Barnhill. Okay. Right? So that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't know all that. And I was a member when they voted to buy Barnhill. I wasn't on the committee then. And so once we paid off the brewery, because the condition of that, you had to keep buying from the brewery. The problem with buying from the brewery was that a lot of the drinks that our community wanted, the brewery didn't offer it. They offered it, it was a higher price. So we saved a lot of money once we paid the brewery loan off, being able to go to cash and carry and get the stuff, and that made a big difference. So if somebody wanted, say, Red Stripe or something or the other, they'll get it. But they had to sell it at a higher price because they had to go through somebody else. You see, the brewery, it wasn't one of their drinks that they did. Yeah, okay, the brewery, all their own drinks are cheap. But when you need the drinks, and don't forget, our tastes were changing from then, because back in 1970 odd, people used to drink pints of lager and bitter and all that, yeah, here. But then the next generation now, they're having buckle this and buckle that, yeah, and Dragon Stout, Guinness Extra, all those things, something.
So, how do you feel about how the community feel about, like, the council and MSV, and what's your thoughts on that? Like,
I think there's a certain amount of mistrust, definitely, from the community, which is, you know, I understand that, and I'm not 100% either. Yeah, all I'm trying to do is say to people, look, we're caught in a situation. We've got our local sports and social club, and there's a lot of interested parties gathering around, trying to impact and say we should do this, we should that, and so on. And it's confusing the picture right now. So we've got the protest group are saying one thing, they're going around collecting money and doing whatever. Fine, okay. And then we've got others, MSV Development Trust, saying we should do this and do that. And obviously we've got City Council, MSV said, well, look, we definitely want the organisation to survive, and we're prepared to draft a memorandum of agreement, a legal document which guarantees secure tenure. And people don't understand what that means.
Secure
of tenure. That means we're here. Okay. Whatever. You're with me? Because we have a 99-year lease, and we sort of.
How many of that year? 99 years.
Well, I would say we've got about 40 odd years left.
So 40 years.
So now is a good time to get that secure tenure. So once that's it means that we can continue. Yeah, we're secure. So City Council is willing to put that on the table. So I've said to them, look, no saying, put down in writing what it is, because then we can hold you to it.
So do you think they will take this building back in 44 years?
Well, this is what the secure tenure. We can negotiate for an extension, but if you get that security of tenure, it means that they can't kick us out at the end of 40 odd years. It a game changer. So get that in writing, and also agreement about resources to refurbish the place and soundproof the place.
But don't you think, like, from the year like the West Indian Centre has been operating, like they should have owned, like, at least the own building by now, because for us to be in this situation at this point now, like you're saying, trying to sign a tenure to guaranteed whatever, just 44 years left after 99 years lease, that's still not firm enough for a next generation to say.
No, but if you get the security of tenure, it means that we've got that guarantee. The thing is, right, when you own your own building, you've got to raise something like, I don't know, 2.5 million or whatever to build it to the specification we want, roughly, give or take. Because I was involved with raising the money for the Musad and Union Development Trust. I was the chair when we raised that money. And because we're not a charitable trust, we're a self-help social club. That's what people don't understand. There's lots of social clubs all over the place. Lots of them go bust. So the wherewithal, the ability to raise that kind of fund to get that new build, that's the big problem for social clubs. Yeah. Now, for me, it could be a long-term aim where we look at a way in which we can work with the community to secure that money in some way or the other. And that's why I'm trying to take it to a next level, get these younger trustees on board and steady the ship and says, look, I've taken it to a certain level. I want more people who've got more skills and so on, who can look at ways in which can raise the finance to get a new build.
So with the ROAB site, could you explain to the people a bit clearer? Because a lot of people probably get it misunderstood, because like you said, did you own the lot or did you lease it?
We leased, the land was leased. We bought the building with a loan from the brewery, which I ended up make sure that loan was paid back. What we didn't own was the land. The landlord was the city council. I've got the lease document here, which shows they were the landowners.
So that's the document.
That's the document. There's the original document there. And I don't know if you can see it. It's there.
Yeah.
Right. And they are the landowners, and they have been. Even when the RAOB was owned, the RAOB Royal Order of Ancient Buffaloes, they owned that building. City council were the landlords.
There was a leasehold, not freehold.
Yes. Because you know, certain properties, you can buy a property as a freeholder or leaseholder.
Leasehold, yes.
And if you buy it as a leasehold, it means somebody owns that land. You got to pay them rent.
Yeah.
We got to pay them ground rent every year. In our case, it was a peppercorn rent because of what we do that on that land. But we're still liable to pay ground rent, and they own that land. We can't sell that land.
They don't, okay.
No. What we did do at the time, the Barnhill roof had collapsed, and it all got destroyed. We didn't have the money to sort it out, right? Westwood Street started to leak from several parts. We had buckets everywhere. It was becoming a health and safety issue. In the electrics and so on, we'd have had to shut it down in months, if not weeks. And we negotiated with the city council, because city council, and I met with them on many occasions, they were trying to save Westwood Street as well. But they said that what we can do is to surrender the lease back to us, because we couldn't use the building, it was destroyed. And what they will do is the £100,000 that they raised for that, they would use that to give us a new roof. That money, and again, I've got evidence, that money went directly to the roof builders. It didn't come into the club's accounts. So the city council paid it directly to them. They did the roof with a 20-year guarantee.
So they sold the whole building and just to fix the roof. They sold the whole building and then just to fix the roof of this building.
Who sold the whole building? No, what happened? We what you call, you surrender the lease of the land, because the building was written off, basically. It was just, you couldn't do anything with it.
So it wasn't sold, basically.
No, you'd have to demolish it.
Okay, so it wasn't sold.
Yeah,
the city council just.
Yeah, we surrendered the lease. They had to demolish it, so it cost to demolish buildings and clear the site. They did all that, and on top of that, they also cover the cost of the roof.
So for that £100,000, the city council paid that to the
Directly
roofers.
to the roofers.
So
yes.
you guys didn't see any of that money?
No, we wouldn't, but it's all in the procedure.
So
Because that's what they would normally do. Whoever's going to do the work, they would pay that money directly to them.
So you know the money from the brewery that you guys borrowed to buy the RAB,
Yeah.
the loan, how did that loan get paid back? How much was it and how?
We paid a lot. It was paid in. What happened is when you bought drinks, so much got paid back on the loan, and then it got to a point where it was reduced as a zero. It's a certain percentage. I can't remember off the top of my head. But once that loan was paid back, see, that's why we couldn't stop ordering from the brewery, because of the condition of that loan. We keep ordering drinks from them.
Okay.
Yeah. But once we had paid that off, element off, it meant that we were free to buy our drinks from elsewhere. And that's how we were able to go to all the other places, get the drinks a lot cheaper, and it made a big difference. And that's how it was. But definitely I do remember we paid it off, and we were then free to go to local cash and carries and all those places. So yeah.
Do you believe the West Indian Centre will have the same fate as many of our community centre, or do you believe different? Like this one will survive it? What's your thoughts?
Westwood Street will survive. It will survive, and the reason I think so, we've got a lot of positive people, black people in our community who want it to survive, and it's a hub for meetings. We've got Jamaica Society, we've got the Leeward Islands, we've got a arts group, we've got a youth club every Tuesday that meets here. They've got nowhere to go, and they come here Leighton every Tuesday. They're here. Get the table tennis table out, get the youths in. We've been doing that, and it's not cost them a penny. So we believe that there's a lot of positive energy out there. We just need to come together and work together. Forget the egos, and just work together.
How is the community become a member, and what's the procedure? Is there?
Well, it's as a social club. What we always say to people, you need to come as a visitor and make yourself be known. And because if you go to any social club and say I want to event, they're not going to give you a membership like that. You try going to any social club, they don't know where you're coming from. They don't know what your behaviour. They don't know if you're going to respect their club and the club. So they'll come in as a visitor, and then once they see that the situation, they'll invite you to become a member. That's how it is.
Is there a fee or is it free?
Yes, there's a fee. It's £10 for a person. If it's a couple, it's £15, and that's for the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those members, how long would it take them to get on the board if they were supposed to be selected? Because you've got like 5. It's for how many members?
There's no specific time which says that, in terms of the constitution. I think what it is that if somebody joins the organisation as a member, we'd have already got to know that person and what they can do, their commitment, and so on. And we would then at some point ask them, because you can only have so much people on the committee, and don't forget, it's the members that vote people on the committee. The trustees, once the trustees are there, they're there really for life, because they're there to protect the assets. And they set back, only intervene if there's going to be a problem. But the other committee members now, they would be looking to be secretary, treasurer, and all those things, So members will elect those people, but we say to members, don't elect somebody because they're your friend. Elect somebody because you think they're committed and they've got skills that can be of use to the organisation.
So my thoughts really on the Westwood Street and the building across the road there, like I was saying to the protest group in there, I don't think it's a protest situation. I think it's a negotiating situation. Because what I would say is trying to negotiate to get some commercial building on these sites would be key, rather than the houses, because commercial closes at a certain time.
Correct.
Now, the issue is what I say, I don't think soundproof will make any difference. And the reason why I say that is, if you walk outside, you don't really hear the music. You only hear the music from this side of the road when you come in Westwood Street. occasionally. You can't air it from Barnell Street. You can't
There
air
you
it
go.
from around there.
There
So
you go.
therefore, I wouldn't say the soundproof is thing.
So it's not a big issue then.
It's not an issue. The issue is the parking on the outside.
Yeah.
That's where the main issue is.
It is.
And a nuisance from neighbours who's going to complain if they end up building houses around there. So when neighbours come to park, they won't be able to park, and then they're going to complain to the council. Then the council is going to then penalise Westwood Street, and then that's how Westwood Street would become composed. You get me? Start getting squeezed, because then you're going to have sanctions. So I said,
well, have you looked at the plans though? Because, for example, at Westwood Street, because I've been going to the stakeholders meeting, they're planning to provide parking for the people over there within that. They don't have to park on the street. Yeah.
is that on a lot over there?
No, Westwood Street itself. The building houses over there, they're going to be they'll be able to park within that. There, they don't need to park on the street. The extra parking that they're going to plan on Moss Lane East will be to help to accommodate the club in terms of people who use the club. That's the part of the plan.
Parking.
Yeah, so the parking, because there's a bit of land over there.
Okay.
Moss Lane East, they want to turn that into parking space.
Okay.
People can park over that side. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're right. Look, it's all unknown. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you that I can't foretell the future. All I know is I've been a trustee for 30 years.
Yeah.
I've seen when we've had Barnhill was going late, Barnhill Street and residents were there, and people were coming and going and so on, and we survived. They survived. But you're right. I can't foretell the future. All I can do is say, look, these are the options. Remember, I said to you, these are the pros and the cons. If one of the cons are the fact that the parking's an issue, fine. Let's have this debate. Unless people feel like you might feel that will be an issue, members have to then say, well, okay. They might say it's not good.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. From my knowledge of being there, I don't think the inside is any issue, apart from needing refurbish.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. But I think the outside. But then, like I said, if you're trying to negotiate a deal, and basically to try and get the inside sorted out, then basically what you have to try and probably do is make sure everyone is on the same page by getting the deal signed, because then you don't want to sign a deal and then you get backlash.
No, I can't sign. No, listen, let's get it straight. I can't sign a deal unless the members approve it.
Okay.
You with me?
Yeah.
The members, it's like the Barnhill, when we surrendered the lease, and I've got the minutes here,
Yeah.
we call a members meeting
Okay.
and put to them the seriousness of the situation. And if we didn't, these are the options. And the only option at that time was to secure that funding to secure Westwood Street. Otherwise, we'd have lost both buildings.
Yeah.
And if we'd lost both buildings, they'd be coming for the trustees as well.
So how do you finance this place, Tom?
How?
Yeah.
Well, we just generate our own income through the bar.
So you don't get any funding from the council?
We
from,
don't.
No.
We don't. Because, you know, I always say to people, listen, one thing about the club and one thing attracted me to this organisation is that we are always determined to income generate.
Yeah.
Income generation is different than grant funding. Grant funding, you go in cap in hand and you hope they're going to say yes and not no. If they say no, after you've been depending on them, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
See, at Carmel Road was a community centre. And I know I've worked for the city council.
Yeah.
Every year, community centre's got a certain amount of money from the city council to help run it. City council got hit by the government of the day, so had to cut back a whole heap of public spending. And in doing so, they've cut back on the spending for community centres. It didn't affect us. You know why? Because we were doing our own income generation. So all these years, we've not depended on the city council because we generated our own income and paid our way. How we survive is we make sure every Saturday is booked up. All this year, every Saturday is booked up, right? For anniversaries, birthdays, celebration events, and don't forget, I've not even come to the funerals and all those things.
Yeah. So would you say, like, for example, in the finance department, would with the council gonna do the certain amount of job, is Westwood Street in any position to do any of that work financially themselves?
Well, again, the way I see it is, first things first, let's secure the resource commitment. And you see, the thing with public money, whenever you get public money, they're audited. So whatever happens, if they want to subcontract work out to anybody, they've got to be a recognised company or whatever, because it goes through the books and all that.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I'm saying, can Westwood Street contribute anything? Have you got anything in the kitty to put towards?
Oh, right.
Those refurbishment.
Right. In terms of finances.
Yes, finances. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I would say no, because our focus is on keeping this place financially viable, and it's not about that. They're not asking us to commit no money. No, they're not, because as I made it quite clear, we've survived without coming to the city council and asking them for money when we've been delivering voluntarily a lot of community services that we didn't have to do, but we've been doing it, so we've added value to the community. So in that respect, we need to make sure that our money that we generate pays our running costs and all those things.
But you know what most people ask, Tom, is like, how long do you think it will survive, like within the way it's running, as in financial wise? Because as you said, you're not getting any funding, and it's just whatever you make. So how long do you think it will survive?
I don't think people realise that. Look, I've been doing the finances over 20 years, right? So I monitor the cash flow, and it's a simple equation. If people want a venue to celebrate their birthdays, their events, whatever, and they book it here, it's there. They're booking for next year already, okay? And last year it was all booked up. So what I'm saying to you is, we've got a track record and a formula that works. And as long as the building's here and refurbish it, they will come. They will build. It's simple as that.
But don't you think you should have had some form of financial aspect put in place? Because what I believe over the years, something should have been put in, saving away, because the position that we're ending up in now, depending on the council to refurbish the building, because what I've heard in the past, ladies complaining, saying that the toilets are not up to date or whatever. And like you said in the start of the conversation, the building has not been refurbished for how many years? So you know that. So what I'm saying is, should something not be in place where every year or every month something's put away, no matter how small it is, for a rainy day like now? Because we should be able to be doing something.
We should, but you see, again, if you remember what I said to you, the club has come through the banking crisis. We've come through COVID. We're on our knees with COVID. Every penny we had to do to make sure we survived COVID. This is the first year. That's why I'm saying to you is that we're actually in a better place than we were before COVID. This is why I'm trying to organise, get people on bonuses right. Now we're on a good track, taking on board things that what you're saying. Yes, we need to put away for a rainy day. But before we did that, we had to secure ourselves financially in terms of our existing financial commitments. And we're doing that now. And we're at that position now. We need to take it to that level. So I 100% agree with you. Let's take it to the next level. What we've done is got us through all the crisis and so on. And it's about the next level. Because if we can come through the crisis and we're financially better off than we were before COVID, that can only be a good thing. And that's down to hard work. So I totally agree with what you're saying. We need to start thinking that way.
Definitely. We shouldn't have to be dependent on anyone. But like I said, if you see there's a deal there where it can work, you don't want to lose that deal, and then obviously not getting the place refurbished from that as well. Because like I said,
you see, all I'm doing is getting information. Does it make sense? Will it make sense with the members? The members have to be treated with respect. I can't sign anything off without the knowing.
So
you with me?
So what is it you want to say clearly to those people out there who are saying whatever that you're not happy with them? Just tell them in the camera.
Well, I'm not happy in the sense that black people are fighting each other, and the protest group has been used as a platform to really attack people like myself, when a lot of that attack is based on lies, as I demonstrated to you before. For me, that's an important step. We need to acknowledge the people that have been doing it. They need to have a little bit of honour and respect and put their hand up and say, look, we were wrong and we apologise. Also, make sure the protest group people tell it to them as well, because I think that's an important step. I'm still willing to sit down and we all work together. That has always been my mantra. Let's sit down, put away the ego. That's where I see it going forward. Let's all have an honest debate. Stop shouting at each other. Stop abusing each other. Let's hear the arguments, right? And that's me. Give everybody a voice. But everyone needs to be heard. But they don't need to be abused. They don't need to be threatened based on lies. That's all I'm saying. Yeah?
And you're willing to sit down with anyone and have a conversation, because putting it out there like you are now.
But the people who have actually espoused that lie, they need to take ownership of that and say to themselves, look, we were wrong. Because it could have ended up in, I don't know, I could have been hurt if I'd been here on the night. I don't know. It could have got so heated. A fight could have broken out. Let me tell you, I've been to meetings in the past where fights have happened over lesser things. And people, when they get stirred up by lies and not truth, it's wrong. It's wrong. It just divides us. And my message is stop the division, stop the ego hunting. Just stand together as one and just forget about the past and move on.
And just to make it clear, so you haven't made a deal with Mosque.
There's no deal made with Mosque. All we at this moment is doing is negotiating what it is they want to offer. They then have to put it in writing to say what it is. And then it has to go to members, right, who looks at it. So we're not selling anybody out. We're just saying, well, look, okay, you're making the offer. Let's hear what it is.
But you made a comment before when you said it was a bit late for where the protest group protesting, because the plan was already out on the housing, whatever.
No, it was a bit late in terms of the Mossad and Redevelopment Trust, which they were trying.
With their proposal. Because the architect already done their bit.
Correct.
But would you say that it was misleading in the fact that Mosque maybe, because when they came down there with the plan, they said it wasn't through the gate. They said this was just a plan just to show the community what they've got. So they was showing the back of the buildings, whatever. Turning this way. And then they said that wasn't. But then in the evening news, it was stated that they will be building. They've got all the plans in the evening news of what they will be building and what.
They changed the plans. Yes, that's true.
So I don't know I'm just trying to figure out what difference will the protest group make by protesting, like you said, because the plan has already been drawn, it's already been, the architects already done all
they
that.
spent thousands and all that.
Exactly.
So it's a late stage of the game. It would take something very high up politically for them to suddenly turn around, pull the plug. So that means a very powerful argument I think we presented to them to say, look, it's in the better interest of the community as a whole that we do not build. In fact, I made the case at a meeting I went to, and I said, what's happening here, the issue isn't just about Mossad and Hume. Manchester is probably the second or third largest city in England. And the fact that we don't have one major hub for our community, like they do with the Irish Heritage Centre. I don't know if you've been there. You've been there? They've got a big building, nice big piece of land, and there's no housing around it. So I made a point. I said, you need to look at our community, black community, African Caribbean community on a citywide basis as well, because they come from all the different wards, not just Mossad, Hume, Whalley Range, Longside, Deswick, all over. They even come from Old Trafford as well. And so it demonstrates also there can be an argument that it's not just a local ward problem, it's citywide, also Greater Manchester wide. Because if you talk about Trafford, and all those people come in here as well, and many of them do. So I think there's a different level as well. And I think there needs to be looking at creating some kind of a hub which takes that on board. Now, I don't know if it could be here, where they could suddenly turn around and say, right, we want to turn this whole area into an up, which involves a community club like the Sports and Social Club, commercial developments as well, and all those kind of things.
So
Yeah.
would it be possible, and this is just me throwing it out there,
Yeah.
like, would it be possible for you to make a deal with them to probably give up this site and then be given a new site? Because basically they seems to want this area
Yeah.
to redevelop and do what they are
The
doing.
problem is, and this came out of a meeting I went to, they're running out of land space. You can't move anywhere. If you go around Moss Side, you've been around, right? You find somewhere with a big enough site that has car parking and it's not surrounded by housing. You can't do it.
That's true.
Yeah, you can't do it. You'd have to go elsewhere. The only option would be to commit to saying, okay, we've already cleared over there. We cleared over there. Let's focus on this site.
Well, what they probably could do is probably give you half of half end.
They could. They could. Yeah.
Because half end is a good and it's out of the way.
Half end would be good. Yes.
And that would be a good site.
There's been rumours about that, but that would be really good.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
That would suit me down to the ground.
Yeah. So I think if it's possible.
Yeah.
If it's possible for you to put that to them, and if it's possible for the committee to agree, because basically, like I said, it's not about you only; it's the members got to agree.
I agree.
Then I think.
But exactly, but it's a good alternative. It's a good alternative. So first of all, we need to know, is that available?
Yeah, that's it.
And so on, and is there a political will to make that happen?
Yeah.
You know, so you're right. That suggestion has been made. But yeah, it's something that can be looked into.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's a time thing as well, because right now, with them pushing for the development, I think they're going to go to, they may be going to planning in a couple of months' time, and planning has to reject it or accept it based on what the city council says. So there's a lot of things to happen in the next couple of months. You know what I mean? So the off-end offer could be a possibility, but somebody has to make that drive.
Yeah. But have you got anyone to put that word in place for you, or would it be you have to make that?
I could certainly make that.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
Yeah, I think that's
because I know it's been mentioned. Yeah, it has been mentioned.
Like I said, it's just my wild one out there. I don't know, because most people might be saying, "Oh, you should move the Moss Side from Moss Side because that's the significance of it." But at this very moment now, like we're saying, we're trying to deal with safety and security in a long term, and as it's looking now, this place, even though you might fight for all the fight and whatever, it might come under jeopardy one way or another, not intentionally, but like you said, on the external side of it.
I mean, look, if we lost our late license, right, and I'm transparent, I'll tell you now, even if we lost that, we could still survive. That's a fact. The building is ours, we get secure tenant. Even if we ran it and just funerals and shut down at 12 o'clock, I do the finances, I know, I know what's involved, so it's possible. Obviously it's not ideal, because we're missing out on that big side, but if that's see, I always say you need to know what your bottom line is in this life. Your bottom line is, what's the thing that you know you could survive come what may. We all have that. That it's possible. But yeah, I think off-end is a possibility. It's not been mentioned. Is it actually closed? Is it still functioning?
I think because there was something there the other day from the carnival. So I think
suggesting that they could move there.
They're still using it.
All right.
But
I think you see, I suppose politically, having a base in Moss Side, because of all the history and what it represents, it's been a thing, and I can see why people are trying to find the space. You know.
But we just have to look at the reality, and like we said, if they build just across the gate there, that will definitely be an issue.
It will be an issue because we've said to them, and they've said, we're not going to build right up to the thing. It's going to be set back. I don't know, but we have to look at all the plans. All I'm doing is let's get all information.
Yeah, because as you know, cars parked all the way back up to Powerhouse, right back round.
Especially when you have funerals and
When
stuff.
there's a big funeral.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all of that, and like I said, all these people are new people coming in the area, and some of them don't really understand the culture. Because before you said when Barnell Street was ROAB, you never used to have any issue. That was different people then. Now
It was different,
people.
but it was there was noise over there.
No,
Trust
but
me.
yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying to you. But those people understand the culture.
Yeah, they understood it. You're talking about new people now,
New people now, they don't understand our culture, and that's
No.
the issue. Because as soon as they hear anything, they're gonna complain about it. You know, and that's gonna be a big issue. And that's exactly what's going on right now, just down the, you know what I mean. So, like I said, you only can do your best, Tom, and keep doing what you're doing. And
but I'm open. We're open to suggestions. We're not saying we go down that way. I'm definitely not going to. I'm not advocating. I'm not going to. And I can't do it. I cannot go and sign off anything without members' approval.
yeah, so
That's where I'm coming from.
yeah, it's a teamwork. So
Teamwork, it is, because once you do that, you're disrespecting your own people, your own members by doing that. And I'm not doing that.
And like I said, you're willing to sit down with the protest group and come to a plan. And
The protest group needs to, once they've sorted themselves out, what they're doing in terms of this situation, that we're using it as a means to attack myself based on lies, that needs to be acknowledged. They need to take ownership of that. I know Richard Davis, he's been acting as a mediator and between us and them. And I said to him, and I showed him the evidence, that, and I said, it's quite basic, it's quite simple. They need to acknowledge what they're doing, and you cannot stir people up based on lies. You can't, because lives are threatened, and it could be me. I don't know.
And just to let the viewers see, you've got all the evidence there.
I've got all the evidence there. I've got the lease. I've got the minutes of the meeting when the members voted for and instructed me and Mr. Brady to surrender that lease in order to save Westwood Street. And I've got all the signatures as well. I'm not going to show you them, but they're here. All the signatures who signed up, and it was unanimous. And all I could do is act on that membership vote, because it is a democracy. That's what it is.
Okay, Tom.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Tom.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks, Tom.
Okay. At least I hope you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I'm not being obstructive. It's about saying, look,